Part 3. Chaos Hunting. All that is told here happened some time before Mowgli came away from the Seine wolf pack. It was in the days when Baloo was teaching him the law of the jungle. The big, serious, old brown bear was happy to have such a clever pupil. The young wolves only learned as much of the law of the jungle as to their own pack. They run away as soon as they can say the hunting words. Feet that make no noise, eyes that can see in the dark, ears that can hear the winds, and sharp white teeth. All these things are the mark of our brothers except Tabaqui and the hyena, whom we hate. But Mowgli was a man-cub. He had to learn much more than this. Sometimes Bagheera, the Black Panther, came through the jungle to see how his pet was getting on. He was sitting against a tree and listened to Mowgli answering the day's lesson to Baloo. The boy climbed almost as well as he could swim, and swam almost as well as he could run. Baloo, the teacher of the law, taught him the wood and water laws, how to speak politely to the wild beasts when he came upon them 50 feet above the ground, what to say to man, the bat, when he met him in at midday, and how to warn the water snakes in the pools before he jumped down among them. They all are very ready to fly at a visitor. Then, too, he taught Mowgli the stranger's hunting call. He must repeat it aloud till it is answered, when one of the jungle people hunts. It means, translated, "Let me hunt here because I'm hungry," and the answer is, "Hunt then, for food, but not for pleasure." All this will show you how much Mowgli had to learn by heart. He was very tired of repeating the same thing 100 times. Baloo said to Bagheera one day, "A man's cub is a man's cub, and he must learn all the law of the jungle." "But think how small he is," said the Black Panther. "How can his little head carry all your long talk?" "Is there anything in the jungle too little to be killed? No. That is why I teach him these things, and that is why I hit him very softly when he forgets." "Softly? What do you know of softness, old iron feet?" Bagheera said. "His face is all red today by your softness." "Ugh! Better he is red from head to foot by me who love him than by that whom he will do harm by ignorance," Baloo answered. "I am now teaching him the master words of the jungle that shall protect him with the birds and the snake people and all that hunt on 4 feet except his own pack. He can now have protection if he only remembers the words from all in the jungle. Is that not worth a little beating? Well, look to it then that you do not kill the man-cub. He is no tree trunk to sharpen the claws upon. But what are those master words? I am more likely to give help than to ask for it." Bagheera looked at his sharp claws. "Still I should like to know." "I will call Mowgli and he will say them, if he wants. Come, little brother." "My head is ringing like a bee tree," said a voice over their heads. Mowgli came down a tree trunk, very angry. "I come for Bagheera and not for you, fat old Baloo." "That is all one to me," said Baloo. "Tell Bagheera then the master words of the jungle that I have taught you this day." "Master words for which people?" said Mowgli. "The jungle has many languages. I know them all." "A little you know, but not much. See." "O Bagheera, they never thank their teacher. Not one small wolfling has come back to thank old Baloo for his teachings. Say the word for the hunting people then, great scholar." "We are of one blood, you and I," said Mowgli, giving the words the bare accent which all the hunting people of the jungle use. "Good. Now for the birds," Mowgli repeated in the birds' language. "Now for the snake people," said Bagheera. The answer was a hiss. Mowgli jumped on Bagheera's back, making the worst faces that he could think of at Baloo. "There, there," said the brown bear. "Some day you will remember me." Then he turned to tell Bagheera how difficult it was to take the master words from Hati, the wild elephant, who knew all about these things. Then Hati took Mowgli down to a pool to get the snake word from a water snake. Baloo could not pronounce it. Now Mowgli was safe against all accidents in the jungle, because neither snake, bird, nor beast could hurt him. "Except his own pack," said Bagheera, then turned to Mowgli. "Have a care, little brother. What is all this dancing up and down?" Mowgli was shouting at the top of his voice, "And so I shall have a pack of my own and lead them through the branches all day long." "What is this new folly, little dreamer of dreams?" said Bagheera. "Yes, and throw branches and dirt at old Baloo," Mowgli went on. "They have promised me this. Ah!" Oof! Baloo's big paw threw Mowgli off Bagheera's back. The boy lay between the big paws and could see the bear was angry. "Mowgli," said Baloo, "you have been talking with the Bandalog, the monkey people." Mowgli looked at Bagheera to see if the panther was angry too. Bagheera's eyes were as hard as stones. "You have been with the monkey people, the grey apes, the people without a law, the eaters of everything. That is great shame." "When Baloo hurt my head," said Mowgli, he was still down on his back, "I went away, and the grey apes came down from the trees and had pity on me. No one else cared. The pity of the monkey people, the stillness of the mountain stream, the cool of the summer sun, and then Man-cub. And then they gave me nuts and tasty things to eat, and they carried me in their arms up to the top of the trees and said I was their blood brother, except that I had no tail and should be their leader some day." "They have no leader," said Bagheera. "They lie. They have always lied. They were very kind and asked me to come again. Why have I never been taken among the monkey people? They stand on their feet as I do. They do not hit me with hard paws. They play all day. Let me get up, Bad Baloo, let me up. I will go and play with them again." "Listen, Man-cub," said the bear, and his voice was loud like thunder on a hot night. "I have taught you all the law of the jungle for all the peoples in the jungle except the monkey folk who live in the trees. They have no law. They are outlaws. They have no speech of their own but to use the stolen words of which they hear when they listen and peep and wait up above in the branches. Their way is not our way. They are without leaders. They boast and talk and pretend that they are a great people. The falling of a nut turns their minds to laughter, and all is forgotten. We of the jungle don't like them. We do not drink where the monkeys drink. We do not go where the monkeys go. We do not hunt where they hunt. We do not die where they die. Have you ever heard me speak of the Bandalog till today?" "No," said Mowgli. "They are very many, bad, dirty, shameless, and they want to be noticed by the jungle people. But we do not notice them even when they throw nuts on our heads. We had hardly spoken when a shower of nuts came down through the branches. "The monkey people are forbidden," said Baloo. "Forbidden to the jungle people, remember." "Forbidden," said Bagheera, "but I still think Baloo should have told you about them." I? How was I to think he would play with such dirt, the monkey people, for?" Another shower of nuts came down on their heads, so they went away, taking Mowgli with them. What Baloo said about the monkeys was true. They lived in the tree-tops. The jungle people very seldom look up, so the monkeys and the jungle people never cross one another's path. But whenever they find a sick wolf or a wounded tiger or bear, the monkeys throw sticks and nuts at him for fun. Then they sing senseless songs and invite the jungle people to climb up their trees and fight them. Sometimes they start battles over nothing among themselves and leave the dead monkeys where the jungle people can see them. They always wanted to have a leader and laws, but they never did. But now they settled things by making up a saying, "What the Bandalog think now, the jungle will think later." None of the animals could reach them, but on the other hand none of the animals would notice them. So they were happy when Mowgli came to play with them, and when they heard how angry Baloo was. They had a brilliant idea that Mowgli was a useful person because he could put sticks together for protection from the wind, so if they caught him, they could make him teach them. Of course, Mowgli, as a woodcutter's child, could make little play huts of fallen branches without thinking how he came to do it. The monkey people, watching in the trees, thought these huts most wonderful. This time they were really going to have a leader and become the cleverest people in the jungle. So they followed Baloo and Bagheera and Mowgli through the jungle very quietly till it was time for the midday sleep. Mowgli slept between the panther and the bear. The next thing Mowgli remembered was feeling hands on his legs and arms, hard, strong little hands. The Bandalog cried with triumph. "He has noticed us. Bagheera has noticed us. All the jungle people admire us." Then they began their flight, and the flight of the monkey people through tree land is one of the things nobody can describe. They have their regular roads and crossroads, up hills and down hills, and all these are from 50 to 70 or 100 feet above the ground. By these they can travel even at night. Two of the strongest monkeys caught Mowgli under the arms and went off with him through the tree-tops. The earth far down below frightened Mowgli, and nothing but empty air brought his heart between his teeth. Sometimes he could see for miles and miles over the green jungle, as a man on the top of a mast can see for miles across the sea. Mowgli was their prisoner. First he was afraid that they could drop him, but then he grew angry. Then he began to think. The first thing was to send back word to Baloo and Bagheera. It was useless to look down, so he looked up and saw, far away in the blue sky, Chil, the kite. Chil saw that the monkeys were carrying something. He whistled with surprise when he saw Mowgli. He said to the kite, "We are of one blood, you and I. Tell Baloo of the Seeonee pack and Bagheera of the Council Rock." "In whose name, brother?" Chil asked. "Mowgli the Frog, Man Cub they call me." Chil nodded and rose up, watching with his telescope eyes at the tree-tops as Mowgli's escort went alone. "They never go far," he said. "This time, if I have any eyesight, they will have trouble for themselves. for Baloo is not weak, and Bagheera can, as I know, kill more than goats." Baloo and Bagheera were furious. Bagheera climbed as high as never before. "Why did you not tell the man-cub?" he roared to poor Baloo. "Hurry up, oh hurry! We may catch them yet," Baloo said. "At that speed you're like a wounded cow. Teacher of the law, cub-beater. Sit still and think, make a plan. They may drop him if we come too close." "Arula, who? They may have dropped him already, being tired of carrying him. Who can trust the Bandar-log? Put dead bats on my head. Give me black bones to eat. Roll me into the hives of the wild beasts, that I may be stung to death, and bury me with the hyena, for I am the most unhappy of bears. Arula, wahoo!" "Oh, Mowgli, Mowgli, why did I not tell him about the monkey folk? Now perhaps I may have knocked the day's lesson out of his mind, and he will be alone in the jungle without the master words." Baloo put his paws over his ears and rolled to and fro. "At least he gave me all the words correctly a little time ago," said Bagheera. "Baloo, stop! What would the jungle think?" "What do I care what the jungle thinks? He may be dead by now. I have no fear for the man-cub. He is clever and well taught, and above all, he has the eyes that make the jungle people afraid. But he is in the power of the Bandar-log, and they, because they live in the trees, have no fear of any of our people." "Fool that I am! Oh, fat, brown, root-digging fool that I am," said Baloo. "It is true that Hati, the wild elephant, says, 'To each his own fear,' and they, the Bandar-log, fear Kaa, the rock snake. He can climb as well as they can. He takes the young monkeys in the night. His name makes their wicked tails cold. Let us go to Kaa." "What will he do for us? He is footless and with most evil eyes," said Bagheera. "He is very old and very clever. Above all, he is always hungry," said Baloo hopefully. "Promise him many goats. He sleeps for a full moon after he has once eaten. He may be asleep now, and even were he awake, what if he would rather kill his own goats?" Bagheera did not know much about Kaa. "Then, in that case, you and I together, old hunter, may make him see reason." So they went off to look for Kaa, the rock python. They found him sleeping in the afternoon sun. He was so beautiful. "He has not eaten," said Baloo as soon as he saw the beautiful brown and yellow jacket. "Be careful, Bagheera. He can't see well after he has changed his skin." Kaa was not a poison snake, in fact. His strength was in his hug. When he hugged anybody, there was no more to be said. "Good hunting!" cried Baloo. Like all snakes, Kaa couldn't hear well, and did not hear the call at first. "Good hunting for us all," he answered. "Oh, Baloo, what do you go here?" "Good hunting, Bagheera. One of us at least needs food. Is there any use of a hunting? I'm as empty as a dried well." "We are hunting," said Baloo. He knew that he must not hurry Kaa. He is too big. "Let me come with you," said Kaa. "A blow more or less is nothing to you, Bagheera or Baloo, but I have to wait and wait for days in the wood and climb half a night on the chance of a young ape. The Bandar-log call me most evil names." "Footless yellow earthworm," said Bagheera. "Sss! Have they ever called me that?" said Kaa. "Something of that kind they cried to us today. They said that you lost all your teeth, and cannot face anything bigger than a kid, because you are afraid of the he-goat's horns," Bagheera went on. A snake, especially an old python like Kaa, very seldom shows that he is angry, but now Baloo and Bagheera could see that he was really angry. "The Bandar-log changed their place," he said quietly. "When I came into the sun today, I heard them crying among the tree-tops." It is the Bandar-log that we follow now," said Baloo, but he stopped, because this was the first time when one of the jungle people was interested in the doings of the monkeys. "No doubt, then, it is no small thing that takes two such hunters, leaders in their own jungle," Kaa said. "Indeed," Baloo began, "I am no more than the old and sometimes very foolish teacher of the law to the Seonee wolf cubs, and Bagheera here." "Is Bagheera," said the Black Panther, and stopped. "The trouble is this, Kaa. Those nut stealers and pickers of palm leaves have taken away our man cub. I heard some news from Sahi of a man-thing that lived in a wolf pack, but I did not believe. Sahi is full of stories half heard and very badly told. But it is true. He is such a man cub as never was," said Baloo. "The best and cleverest of man cubs. My own pupil, who shall make the name of Baloo famous through all the jungles. And besides we love him, Kaa." "Tss, tss," said Kaa, shaking his head to and fro. "I also know what love is. There are tales I could tell that. Our man cub is in the hands of the Bandar-log now, and we know that of all the jungle people they fear Kaa alone," said Bagheera quickly. "They fear me alone. They have good reason," said Kaa. "Chattering, foolish and chattering are the monkeys, but a man-thing in their hands isn't no good luck. That manling is not lucky. They called me also Yellowfish, was it not?" Worm, earthworm," said Bagheera, "as well as other things which I cannot now say for shame. We must teach them to speak well of their master. Ah, shh! Now, where did they go with the cub?" "The jungle alone knows. Toward the sunset, I think," said Baloo. "We thought that you know, Kaa." "I? How?" "I take them when they come in my way, but I do not hunt the Bandar-log or frogs. Up, 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 Hilo, Ilo, Ilo, look up, Baloo of the Seonee wolf pack." Baloo looked up to see where the voice came from, and there was Chil the kite. It was near Chil's bedtime, but he was flying all over the jungle looking for the bear. "What is it?" said Baloo. "I have seen Mowgli among the Bandar-log. He asked me to tell you. I watched. The Bandar-log have taken him across the river to the monkey city, to the cold lairs. They may stay there for a night or 10 nights or an hour. I asked the bats to watch at the dark time. That is my message. Good hunting, all you below." "Deep sleep to you, Chil," cried Bagheera. "I will remember you in my next kill, O best of kites." It is nothing. The boy said the master word. I could have done no less." And Chil flew away. "He was not forgotten to use his language," said Baloo. "He is so young, but remembers the master word for the birds. I am proud of him, and now we must go to the cold lairs," said Bagheera. They all knew where that place was, but few of the jungle people ever went there. The cold lairs was an old deserted city, lost in the jungle. The monkeys lived there as much as they could be said to live anywhere. "It is half a night's journey," said Bagheera. Baloo looked very serious. "I will go as fast as I can," he said. "We will not wait for you. Follow, Baloo. We must go on the quick foot, Kaa and I." "Feet or no feet," said Kaa shortly. The huge rock python came out of the river. "By the broken log that freed me," said Bagheera, "you're no slow goer." "I'm hungry," said Kaa. "Besides, they called me frog, worm, earthworm, and yellow. All one. Let us go on," said Kaa. In the gold layers, the monkey people were not thinking of Mowgli's friends at all. They brought the boy to the lost city and were very happy for the time. Mowgli never saw this Indian city, and it seemed wonderful to him. From the palace you could see many ruined houses that made up the city. The monkeys called the place their city, and yet they never knew what the buildings were made for or how to use them. They would sit in the king's hall and pretend to be men. They would run in and out of the houses, play up and down the terraces of the king's garden. They knew all the ways and dark tunnels in the palace and the hundreds of little dark rooms. But they never remembered what they had seen and what they had not, but they would shout, "There are none in the jungle so clever and good and strong as the Bandar-log." Then all would begin again till they grew tired of the city and went back to the treetops. Mowgli did not like or understand this kind of life. The monkeys brought him into the gold layers late in the afternoon, but he didn't go to sleep because they joined hands and danced about and sang their foolish songs. One of the monkeys made a speech and told his companions that Mowgli was a new thing in the history of the Bandar-log. "I want to eat," said Mowgli. "I am a stranger in this part of the jungle. Bring me food or let me hunt here." 20 or 30 monkeys ran away to bring him nuts and fruits, but they started fighting on the road and forgot about the fruit. Mowgli was angry as well as hungry, and he wandered through the empty city, giving the strangers hunting call from time to time, but no one answered him. Mowgli understood that he was in a very bad place indeed. "All that Baloo has said about the Bandar-log is true," he thought to himself. "They have no law, no hunting call, and no leaders, nothing but foolish words and little picking hands. So if I am killed here, it will be all my own fault. But I must try to come back to my own jungle. Baloo will beat me, but that is better than living with the Bandar-log." But when he walked to the city wall, the monkeys pulled him back. He set his teeth and said nothing. He went with the monkeys to a terrace above the red sandstone reservoirs. They were half full of rainwater. There was a ruined summer house of white marble in the center of the terrace, built for queens dead 100 years ago. Sleepy and hungry as he was, Mowgli started laughing when the Bandar-log began, 20 at a time, to tell him how great and wise and strong they were, and how foolish he was to wish to leave them. "We are great, we are free, we are wonderful, we are the most wonderful people in all the jungle. We all say so, and so it must be true," they shouted. "Now you are a new listener and can carry our words back to the jungle people. We will tell you all about ourselves." The monkeys gathered by hundreds and hundreds on the terrace to listen to their own speakers singing the praises of the Bandar-log. When a speaker stopped, they all shouted together, "This is true, we all say so." Mowgli said yes when they asked him a question. "Tabaqui, the jackal, must have beaten all these people," he said to himself, "and now they have the madness. Certainly this is Devani, the madness. Do they never go to sleep? Now a cloud covered the moon, and I might try to run away in the darkness, but I am tired." Bagheera and Kaa watched the same cloud, knowing well how dangerous the monkey people were in large numbers. They did not want to run any risks. The monkeys never fight unless they are 100 to 1. "I will go to the west wall," Kaa said, "and come down quickly. They will not throw themselves upon my back in their hundreds, but—" "I know it," said Bagheera. "It's a pity that Baloo isn't here, but we must do what we can. When that cloud covers the moon, I shall go to the terrace. They have some sort of council there over the boy." "Good hunting," said Kaa. The cloud hid the moon, and Mowgli wanted to know what would come next. Suddenly he heard Bagheera's feet on the terrace. The Black Panther came out almost without a sound. He was striking. 50 and 60 monkeys were sitting around Mowgli. They were afraid when Bagheera started fighting, but one monkey shouted, "There is only one here! Kill him! Kill!" A mass of monkeys closed over Bagheera. 5 or 6 took Mowgli and pushed him through the hole of the broken dome. The fall was a good 10 feet, but Mowgli fell as Baloo has taught him to fall, and landed well. "Stay there," shouted the monkeys, "till we kill your friend. Later we will play with you, if the poison people leave you alive." "We are of one blood, you and I," said Mowgli, quickly giving the snake's call. He could hear hissing in the rubbish all around him, and gave the call a second time to make sure. "Down, hoods all," said half a dozen low voices. Every old ruin in India becomes sooner or later a living place of snakes, and the old summer house was alive with cobras. "Stand still, little brother, or your feet will do us harm." Mowgli stood as quietly as he could, listening to the furious fight round the Black Panther. For the first time since he was born, Bagheera was fighting for his life. Baloo must be at hand. Bagheera won't come alone, Mowgli thought, and then he called loud, "To the tank, Bagheera! Go to the water tanks! Go! Get to the water!" Bagheera heard, and the cry that told him Mowgli was safe gave him new courage. He worked his way inch by inch. Then, from the ruined wall nearest the jungle, rose up the war shout of Baloo. The old bear had done his best, but he could not come before. "Bagheera," he shouted, "I'm here! I climb! I hurry! Ahura! Wait my coming, O most infamous Banderlog!" He began to hit with a regular bat, bat, bat. A splash told Mowgli that Bagheera had fought his way to the tank, where the monkeys could not follow him. Then Bagheera lifted up his head and gave the snake's call. "We are of one blood, you and I," for he believed that Kaa was coming any minute. Kaa had only just worked his way over the west wall. Man, the bat, flying to and fro, carried the news of the great battle over the jungle. Hati, the wild elephant, trumpeted, and far away the jungle people were coming along the tree roads to help their comrades in the cold lairs. Then Kaa came straight, quickly, and wanted to kill. The fighting strength of a python is in his head. If you can imagine a hammer of half a ton driven by a cool, quiet mind living in the handle of it, you can imagine that Kaa was like when he fought. A python 4 or 5 feet long can knock a man down if he hits him, and Kaa was 30 feet long, as you know. His first stroke was made into the heart of the crowd round Baloo. The monkeys ran with cries of "Kaa! It is Kaa! Run! Run!" Monkeys were afraid of Ka because the stories the elders told them. Ka was everything the monkeys feared in the jungle. None of them knew the limits of his power. None of them could look him in the face, and none had ever come alive out of his hug. And so they ran, mad with terror, to the walls and the roofs of the houses. Then Ka opened his mouth for the first time and spoke one long hissing word, and the far-away monkeys stayed where they were. The monkeys on the walls and the empty houses stopped their cries, and in the silence that fell upon the city, Mowgli heard Bagheera come up from the tank. Then the monkeys jumped higher up the walls. Mowgli, dancing in the summer house, hooted old-fashioned between his front teeth. "Get the man cub out of there. I can do no more," Bagheera said. "Let us take the man cub and go. They may attack again." "They will not move till I order them." "Stay, you saw," Ka hissed, and the city was silent once more. "I could not come before, brother, but I think I heard your call." This was to Bagheera. I may have cried out in the battle," Bagheera answered. "Baloo, are you hurt?" "I'm not sure that they have not pulled me into 100 little bearlings," said Baloo. "Wow, Ka, we owe you, I think, our lives, Bagheera and I. No matter. Where is the manling?" "Here I am. I cannot climb out," cried Mowgli. "Take him away. He dances like More, the peacock. He will crush our young," said the cobras inside. "Ha," said Ka. "He has friends everywhere, this manling. Stand back, manling, and hide, you or poison people. I break down the wall." "Are you hurt?" said Baloo. "I'm hungry and a little hurt." "Others also," said Bagheera, licking his lips and looking at the monkey dead on the terrace. It is nothing if you are safe, or my pride of all little frogs," said Baloo. "Of that we shall judge later," said Bagheera in a dry voice that Mowgli did not at all like. "But here is Ka, to whom we owe the battle, and you owe your life. Thank him according to our customs, Mowgli." Mowgli turned and saw the great python's head a foot above his own. "So this is the manling," said Ka. "Very soft in his skin, and he is not so unlike the Bandar-log. Have a care, manling, that I do not mistake you for a monkey." "We are of one blood, you and I," Mowgli answered. "I take my life from you tonight. My kill shall be your kill if ever you are hungry, O Ka." "All thanks, little brother," said Ka. "And what may such a hunter kill? I ask that I may follow when next he goes abroad." "I kill nothing. I am too little, but I drive goats towards such as can use them. When you are empty, come to me and see if I speak the truth. If ever you are in a trap, I may pay the debt which I owe to you, to Bagheera, and to Baloo here. Good hunting to you all, my masters." "Well said," smiled Baloo. The python dropped his head lightly for a minute on Mowgli's shoulder. "A brave heart and a clever tongue," said he. "They shall carry you far through the jungle, manling. But now go away quickly with your friends. Go and sleep, for the moon sets. It is not well for you to see what is going to be here." The moon was shining behind the hills. Baloo went down to the tank for a drink, and Bagheera began to put his fur in order. Ka went out into the center of the terrace and sat with all the monkeys' eyes upon him. "The moon sets," he said. "Is there yet light to see?" From the walls came a sound like the wind in the treetops. We see, O Kaa. Good. Begins now the dance of the hunger of Kaa. Sit still and watch. He turned twice or thrice in a big circle, turning his head from right to left. Then he began making figures of 8 with his body, and soft triangles that changed into squares and 5-side figures, and sang, never resting, never hurrying, and never stopping his low, haunting song. Baloo and Bagheera stood still as stone, and Mowgli watched and wondered. "Bendelog," said the voice of Kaa at last, "can you move foot or hand without my order? Speak." "Without your order we cannot move foot or hand, O Kaa." "Good. Come nearer to me." The lines of the monkeys moved forward helplessly. Baloo and Bagheera took one step forward with them. "Nearer!" hissed Kaa, and they all moved again. Mowgli put his hands on Baloo and Bagheera to get them away, and the 2 great beasts started as though they had been walked from a dream. "Keep the hand on my shoulder," Bagheera asked. "Keep it there, or I must go back to Kaa." "Ah, it is only old Kaa," said Mowgli. "Let us go." And the 3 went to the jungle. "Woof," said Baloo, when he stood under the trees again. "Never more will I speak to Kaa," and he shook himself all over. "He knows more than we," said Bagheera, trembling. "In little time, had I stayed, I should have walked down his mouth." "Many will walk that road before the moon rises again," said Baloo. "He will have good hunting." "But what was the meaning of it all?" said Mowgli, who did not know anything of a python's power of fascination. "I saw no more than a big snake making foolish circles till the dog came. Ho, ho." "It is nothing," said Baloo. "We have the man cub again." "True. But he has cost us most heavily in time which might have been spent in good hunting and in wounds. Remember, Mowgli, I, who am the Black Panther, called upon Kaa for help, and Baloo and I were both made stupid as little birds by the hunger dance. All this, man cub, came of your playing with the Bendelog." "True, it is true," said Mowgli. "I am a bad man cub." "Umph. What says the law of the jungle, Baloo?" Baloo did not want to bring Mowgli into any more trouble, but he said, "Sorrow never stays punishment, but remember, Bagheera gives very little." "I will remember. Mowgli, have you anything to say?" "Nothing. I did wrong. Baloo and you are wounded." "It is just." Bagheera gave him 6 love taps. When it was all over, Mowgli picked himself up without a word. "Now," said Bagheera, "jump on my back, little brother, and we will go home." Mowgli laid his head down on Bagheera's back and slept deeply. He didn't wake when he was put down by Mother Wolf sides in the home cave.